Welcome to the first episode of TCO Thrift Finds. In this series, we'll be taking a look at places like thrift stores and flea markets to see if we can find some good deals on different types of media. Besides that, along the way, looking at all the weird stuff you can find in places like this. So we're starting off here in a Goodwill. Going back here to the electronics, didn't really see much, but I did see this. It's a tin Braveheart poster. So, like I said, one of those weird examples of things you would only find here in the thrift store. And then moving over to the media section, the best place here. Obviously a lot of VHSs like there are in any Goodwill, but sometimes you can see interesting stuff here. Like this copy of The Lost World with this, changeable cover here. Over in the CD section was this copy of the Swinger soundtrack, but none of the songs from the actual movie really. And underneath it was Y2K Bob Zogs Female. Yeah, just one of those, mixed CDs. It's one of those where it has regular songs and instrumentals. So yeah, there were tons of these, and you'd find a ton of them here. Stone to the Rue, the Red Dirt album. Good album, but I already own it. Over here, a copy of Empire Strikes Back, the Faces edition on VHS. It's a little banged up, and if I get them, I probably want to get them as a set if I want to collect them. Over here you can find some PC games in the DVDs. This is a Civilization 4 expansion for the Mac. Big Civ fan, but didn't really have a need to get this. Little Battlestar Galactica there. You see movies a lot of times that are turned around backwards, so I have to check and see what's in there. This time it turned out to be Face Off with Travolta and Nick Cage. One of those crazy 90s action movies. You should definitely see it if you haven't. They had a decent amount of records here, but none that piqued my interest. Back up in the CDs, I found this, Randy Rogers Band, Live at Billy Bob's, but no disc. And Honey Brown, which are kind of a lesser-known Texas duo. They had one big hit, Texas Angel. Kind of a weird compilation album, decided to get it. Right here was a copy of Sugar Ray's self-titled album. I really like Sugar Ray, unapologetically. Some good songs on here, When It's Over and Under the Sun. I really like that, early 2000s, late 90s sound. Some dogs there on the inside of the cover. 50 Shades of Grey, the classical album. I picked this up. Not really. No, I didn't pick that up. But there was something under here that I picked up. It is the Presidents of the United States of America. Their first album, I think. It's got songs like Lump and Peaches on there. Really just kind of weird 90s rock. I got it just basically for the novelty to have it. Corey Morrow album here. He's a Texas artist, but this is kind of a greatest hits album, and I already have all of his, so not really of interest to me. Here's Big Country. They are a Scottish rock band from the 80s. I got it all the way up to the counter, opened it up, no disc inside, so always check for the discs at places like Goodwill, right? But on the way over there, I did find this copy of Vertical Horizon. Over here is a thrift store, a local thrift store. Went in there and looked. It's kind of in between thrift store and antiques. But I did find this box of VHSs here. And I just got a kick out of seeing this guy's face for some reason. And over here I found this Kodak tape labeled Addams Family Values. So maybe some different other things recorded on here. Bought it just for the price to take a look. You never know what you're going to find on these things. Moving right along here to another Goodwill, and more VHS tapes. Nothing really of interest here. Down here I did see this, Mouse Hunt. That's not really well known, but I'd recommend watching it if you get the chance. Down here among the records, this is the first Laserdisc I've seen in a thrift store. I know there's a lot out there. This is Running Scared. It's a Billy Crystal movie. The movie itself is kind of meh. So I didn't get it, but I do want to get into the collecting of Laserdiscs at some point. I did find this record, though. It's the Seahawk, a bunch of movie scores from the 30s and 40s, a bunch of Errol Flynn movies that I really like Robin Hood, the Seahawk, and Captain Blood. And I have this exact copy of Spies Like Us on DVD. I need to get it on Blu-ray for sure. Hello, Freddy. And here's Psych Season 4. I'm a big Psych fan. I've got about half of the seasons on DVD, but this had all the discs. They looked really nice. Definitely a good pickup for a cheap price. You see two other Psych seasons there, but I already own those, so no need for me to pick them up. Up here I saw this. It's an Adam Sandler movie, Going Overboard, and just based on the cover, this looks horrible. And And I'm a big fan of early Sandler, so that's saying something. And the final Goodwill here. Going inside, I saw this, a DVD copy of Laser Mission. It's kind of a famous B movie because it does star Brandon Lee, who was Bruce Lee's son. Here's a bootleg Steve Harvey comedy special. There were like 10 of these on this rack. Over in the tapes, I found this blank tape. So just like the VHS, I must know what's on it. Also saw this. I have this on CD already, but it's kind of a cool album. A bunch of country artists covered some Eagles songs, so it's called Common Thread. Looking in the records, typical Goodwill fare here. But this was kind of funny. It looks like someone took a bite right out of this thing, doesn't it? I doubt it tasted very good. Over here in the CDs, there are several PC games mixed in here. I owned a copy of Sim Coaster back in the day, but I don't have it anymore, so I'm going to pick this up. And I'm a big Lego guy, and right behind it was Lego Creator. I think this was one of the first, Lego computer programs they had, so I definitely wanted to get that. But you can see a few others here. Atari, that's kind of cool. Pinball, Ghost Recon, so you never know what you're going to find here. Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. That kid's face does not look like Daniel Radcliffe. A Brother Where Art Thou soundtrack. That's one of my favorite movies, but I see this soundtrack everywhere, like here in Goodwill, but also like still being sold. And here on the end, last thing I got was a signed copy of The Underdog by Aaron Watson. He's a Texas country artist. This is a pretty new album. It's a little banged up, but the CD looks good, and it's got the signature, so I had to pick it up. And here's my haul. A couple games, some TV shows, a bunch of albums on CD. Oh, and I picked this one up at the thrift store that wasn't a Goodwill. Louis L'Amour was a Western writer, and this is his memoir. He lived a really crazy, cool life, so looking forward to reading that. And there's my haul for the first episode of Thrift Finds. So I plan on coming out with many more episodes like this. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Besides my collection, there's these VHS tapes and this cassette tape. I'm going to use these in a series I call Mystery Media, where I take a look at things like this and just out of curiosity and see what's on them and see if there's anything interesting and show it to y'all. So be sure and stick around for that. As always, y'all, thanks for watching.